The woman gave the stranger her hotel room number. The opera had not yet ended. She was impatient to return to the room. As expected, the man had waited a long time. Right now, he is checking the room for listening devices. With his strong figure and smooth movements, Linda was fascinated by his expressionless face. The man was a professional killer hired by the woman, named Golgo 13. At this point Golgo 13 interrupts her thoughts, and Linda says directly what she wants. She wants Golgo 13 to kill her lover Mateo Bryan. Mateo Bryan is a mob boss who controls all the city's gambling companies. Linda's reason is simple. She is young and beautiful, and she can't stand the perverted behavior of aging Mateo Bryan. She had tried to escape several times, but Mateo Bryan was able to catch her easily. She had to make plans for herself because her youth was almost over. Linda wanted to use the money she had saved to get out of Mateo Bryan's hands and live a decent and free life in a strange city. Golgo 13 takes the deal, but Linda's use of a fake name to get a hotel room is discovered by Billy. Billy is Mateo Bryan's confidant, and the biggest obstacle to Golgo 13's mission. For this reason Golgo 13 deliberately tests Billy's gun speed. Obviously the expressionless people are the top experts. That day, Mateo Bryan took Linda to see the stage performance, but could not help but take indecent actions. Linda dared not refuse. She could only endure. Suddenly Mateo Bryan's phone rang, then turned around and went out to answer it. Mateo Bryan just left. Richie came to Linda's side and touched his hand on Linda's thigh. Richie has always coveted Linda's beauty and body, often molested her repeatedly, and has always despised Linda, who came from a street girl. At that moment, Mateo Bryan came back and angrily questioned Linda. It turns out Billy called Mateo Bryan and told him Linda was having an affair with a man in a hotel room. In order not to expose the plan, Linda can only say that Richie forced her to do so, and so Richie becomes the scapegoat. After dealing with Richie, Mateo Bryan called his friends at the police station and defined the incident as an accident. Richie's death arouses the hatred of his own younger brother, and he decides to take revenge for his eldest brother. At this time, Linda is looking forward to the future. She once became the concubine of gangster boss Mateo Bryan due to her skillfulness, but with the accumulation of wealth, Linda wants to put on the clothes she once took off. One by one, her background as a street girl has always made her feel inferior. In the past, in order to survive, she used her youth and beauty to harness the desire of man. Now that she has a lot of wealth, she wants to live a dignified and decent life. These two things are precisely the things that Mateo Bryan can never give her, so Linda decides to leave Mateo Bryan's side at all costs. Mateo Bryan is already old, but his sense of novelty about Linda has not diminished, and his desire to control Linda was even stronger. He sent her men to monitor Linda's every move at all times. While trying on clothes, she asked Mateo Bryan's men to unbutton her. She then threatened them not to follow her or she would plant them for harassment. Linda then began her plan. She hired Golgo 13, the best hitman in the world, to assassinate Mateo Bryan. Unfortunately, her plan was discovered by Billy. Mateo Bryan ordered Billy to eliminate Golgo 13 and Linda together. Richie's brothers, on the other hand, have been planning to avenge Richie's death. The next day, Mateo Bryan was shot dead in the street by Richie's brother. Billy saved Linda from the chaos. Billy said that Linda was the plague god around Mateo Bryan, and he was killed by her. Linda took the opportunity to persuade Billy to replace Mateo Bryan, but the other side said, "Everyone has a place for themselves. He is not the boss material." Just like Linda, no matter how hard she tries, she will never become a noblewoman. Just as Billy was pulling Linda out of the car, Golgo 13 suddenly appeared. The two expressionless men had a final showdown. The two men faced each other for a long time and suddenly drew their guns at the same time. After a gunshot, Billy fell. If he hadn't grabbed Linda's hand, he would have pulled his gun faster. After completing his mission, Golgo 13 turned around and was about to leave. That's when Linda invited Golgo 13 to go away with her. She has a great affinity and affection for this young and strong man who can give her a sense of security. But Golgo 13 left without a backward glance. No man had ever rejected her like that. Linda was so angry that she raised her gun at Golgo 13. Just as she pulled the trigger, Golgo 13 turned around in an instant. Linda fell into a pool of blood, and in the end she did not become a noblewoman. She was just a plaything for Mateo Bryan, and Golgo 13 faded into the rain. End of this article. If you also like, help give a compliment. See you in the next video.